Good morning, thank you for joining me. I'm down to refilm the piece that I have no idea where it got to. As far as I was aware, it was recording, but there, hey ho, good excuse to come out again. And as ever, it's beautiful, peaceful. The birds are singing. But I wanted to share the work that the volunteers had been doing yesterday. And there were guys going along hammering these upright stakes in all the way along. And then this woodland having earlier in the day been coppiced and cut back, the wood was collected and woven. I have to say, I've always thought this little copse would have been my childhood place to be. I used to love dens, and boy, what a good place for a den that would be. Tea parties, yeah. The birds like it too. I can see a little blue tit appreciating the moss and hoping to find some nibbles in there. But once this is greened over, lots of hidey holes for dens. But back to the fence. I had a lovely lady called Emma telling me all about it yesterday. And she was one of the people from the Sandbach Woodland and Wildlife Group who were doing this work that is done by volunteers. And they, along with the Sandbach Footpath Group, do a lot of work to enable local people, be they walkers, runners, dog walkers, to take advantage of the countryside around Sandbach. And as you can see, they've woven the twigs in amongst those vertical stakes for the whole of this length. And this is a temporary fence, temporary to enable the bank to recover. That's probably a favourite place for the dogs to go in and have a paddle, a swim. But this bank needs recovery time for the grass, hopefully the buttercups, and not too many non-native invaders to thrive and to fix that soil, to fix those banks, as it does on the opposite side. But it was lovely to see them all beavering away, and apparently this path, which now is very muddy. Just seen a gorgeous dog go past, but I couldn't stroke it because I was told it would jump up at me and its paws were even more muddy than my boots are. My boots are clogged with mud still from yesterday, I have to admit. But this path is then going to be, I think she said, wooden planks put across it. I'm not sure. But it will be made more accessible from the canal behind me to the steps up to the level above over the dancing bridge. So it will be more readily accessible. And hopefully, if this is covered with growth as on the opposite side, the mini beasts will also be benefiting. listening to the birds is beautiful. Maybe nature was responsible for deleting the piece I did yesterday, so I had to come out again for some more peace and calming. But mentioning volunteers, I don't know where we as a country would be without them. Not just people who give up their labour for things like this. And it was great to see them chattering away, but busy, busy, busy. I myself volunteered for well over 20 years. I was a voluntary counsellor, and I would drive from work and see people in Crewe supporting a charity there. I didn't even get petrol allowance, and I had to pay for my own supervision. But it's all part of volunteering. And I used to get a real niggle on if I was with, as often happened, professionals at a meeting who would say something about charities in a very down-putting way. I always challenged them, especially when there was one psychiatrist who was really deriding about charities. And I said, "Excuse me, so could you explain why you referred a client that you, quote, were unable to cope with to our charity, and I work with him?" Yes, I'm sorry, but it was good to see him squirm. I'm just going to stop talking and let the birds say goodbye on my behalf.